Greetings and welcome to the Thirsty Mage, the virtual pub taking a look back at the history of Blizzard Entertainment. I'm your host David Lloyd, and this episode we're taking a look back in time to the 90s, the first decade that the company named Blizzard would publish video games. Joining me is a man who has spent many hours researching this episode's topic. It's Casey Gibson.
Yes. A Blizzard fanboy through and through. Whether that's a good thing in 2026, that's up for the debate. But I feel like we got to rename the show. We got some kegs and eggs now. You know, we're bright and early podcast.
Yeah, it's hopefully the brain is still functioning. Running on about 4 hours sleep.
Both of us were silly last night, being up late.
Yeah, it's funny. We usually do late night recordings, but lately we've been doing early Sunday mornings, and haven't been adjusting to Saturday nights yet. So hopefully we get through this one okay.
We've been wanting to have our cake and eating it too on Saturday nights. I know I was up playing. Well, first off, what a beautiful Buffalo Bills game as they lose in heartbreaking fashion in overtime. Oh, as a Jets fan, we don't have much, so we like to see our enemies in pain. And to celebrate, I played a bunch of Final Fantasy Tactics till like 1:30 in the morning, so I don't regret it.
Yeah. For me, it was binge watching Lucifer again.
Yep. Yeah, you start getting that hole where it's maybe just one more episode.
Yeah, just sneak one more in, and then nope. You pay for it. The piper comes. But I guess right before we get into the topic of this episode, I just want to, just bring people up to date on a few things that we're doing. Like, this is the year of Shin Megami Tensei, so we are smack dab right into a RPG club for SMT Strange Journey, the 3DS or the DS version, depending on which one you want to play. I know we have... I'm pretty sure we have some folks playing both. I think most people are playing 3DS version, but some people said they preferred the look of the DS. So I know there's a couple people at least that are playing that way.
We got some hipsters.
Yeah. When we're playing at a pretty reasonable pace. So if playing SMT Strange Journey with some friends is something that sounds good to you, we're only about 5 hours in so far. So. Feel free to head on over to thirstymage.com and join our Discord, and then you'll be able to hop in. You might need to do a little bit of catch up, but we have spoiler flag points, I guess you call them in game, so that you won't be too far behind. And each week we set a time frame of how much to play, which is usually approximately about 2 hours a week, so a pretty reasonable 30 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as a father of a little guy, it's actually welcomed. I was worried. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up. But a couple hours, it's really nice to just get in there. And honestly, the way for, at least for me, is like when I do flip it on, it's like you sort of get lost in the dungeon exploration, right? And that dang map, I always need to fill it out. It's a problem for me. But I guess it's good because I get some extra experience from the random battles you'll encounter.
Yeah, for me, it's trying to get enough money because I blow it on the demon compendium. I'm trying to get all the demons. So usually what I'll end up doing is I'll use a few demons and then I'll have to bring them back through the compendium, but that costs some dough, so I usually end up using up all my money. It's a very big balancing act right now between keeping my equipment up to date and keeping my compendium full. So,
yeah. Well, it's better than booze and hookers, right? Spending all your money. But yeah, I do appreciate that though, because I feel like some of these games, and I guess not SMT generally is, I guess leans more towards the hard/hardcore kind of gameplay. But I like that balance where you sort of got to decide, like, ooh, do I want to boost up my team now, or do I want to get the equipment? and it isn't just one of those like, oh, I've got so much gold or whatever that I could just just get everything and just be like a super monster. But
Mhm.
yeah, I've been having fun with it.
And also for those that enjoy the podcast, I know that but the public feed currently is bi-weekly is when they come out. But if you were hoping for weekly mage content, you can still get it, but you just have to hop on over to the Patreon account. So it's patreon.com/the thirsty mage, and for as little as $1 a month, you get access to our bi-weekly podcast that goes hand in hand with the Thirsty Mage. So basically, if you're looking for a weekly episode from us, yeah, you just have to join our Patreon, and then you'll get a new podcast episode every week, as well as getting the main episodes a week early as well. So yeah, there's like I said, the lowest tier is only $1 a month. So and then that money goes towards the upkeep of this place. So it goes towards our hosting fees. So
Definitely
yeah,
not
any
David's Steam Machine Fund.
no, unfortunately not. I do need to throw some more money into that fund for whenever the announcement comes in. We'll see. It's still no indications of what's timing of when it comes out or how much it's going to be, but. Nope, those funds get the podcast has some expenses, so that's where they go. But
Yep.
yeah, if you'd like to
No tickets or
support us,
anything,
and
just to the show.
yeah, that's right. So if you have if you enjoy the show and want it weekly, and also want to support us at the same time, yeah, head over to patreon.com/thethirstymage. But with the plugs out of the way, it's time to get into the main topic of the episode, which is Blizzard Entertainment. Now I know even especially recently, it may not be everyone's favorite developer at the moment. Old Bobby's back in the news.
At least he's gone.
Yeah, big old chirp letting us know what he thinks of things. So goodbye and good riddance, whatever you're doing in retirement there, buddy.
He's like, I just
Um,
want to remind everyone I made a good decision. Thank you.
yeah, sorry. You don't let the door hit you in the rump on the way out. But yeah, it's Blizzard. It's funny that when you think of like Blizzard's been around for a very long time, and I know you and I, Casey, we grew up. The '90s is when we were really getting into gaming, and that's kind of when Blizzard started. But just for a little history on them, they did start off as a different company. They were called Silicon and Synapse, and
Yep.
they
What a
started back
name.
in yeah back in yeah that's it. And that's what they found out was back in '91 they started up the company, three dudes, and they were. It was funny that they, right off the gate, they were supported by Brian Fargo of Interplay. He's, big deal back in the '90s with games like Wasteland and that, and Fallout actually. So, kind of funny to see that it was probably pretty small uh,
Industry. Yeah.
industry back then when with the Western devs in the U.S. They probably all knew each other pretty well.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
I remember, like they were obviously in college, like they were making games in college, and then I guess whether maybe an alum or something. I forget too if it was like they used to have the game jams. I know that's popular with all devs, but especially back then. Like I said, I think it was just more of a tight knit sort of group because I
yeah,
know even like probably a little bit later than after 93 or early 90s when they first started up was that like you could get a QA job and a couple years later you could be working as like a developer, head developer, you know what I mean? Like the pipeline to get into these companies was so different than now, with
yeah,
bajillions of people who are able to do some of these things.
yeah. It's funny when you hear some of the big directors, like in Japan too, like where you hear it's like, oh, the CEO, he was, you know, 19 and he was doing the QA, and then the company grew so fast that he just ran through the ranks or whatever, and
Now he makes
now we
six figures.
yeah, now he's running the place. Yeah, it's funny to see.
Where yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah, they knocked on the door and he just said like, "Hey, can I work here?" And then next thing
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he made Mario.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few people that they're like, I don't know, this guy just, he just started typing code on a computer, and we all just figured he was just part of there. Didn't even notice him.
We thought he worked here.
Yeah. But yeah, there's three games that were released under that original name, Silicon and Synapse. So that's RPM Racing, The Lost Vikings, and Rock and Roll Racing. So yeah, these were all published by Interplay. So they were again, you can thank or curse Interplay for Blizzard's existence. They definitely helped them, especially early on. And Casey, I don't know, I have never played any of these ones, but I'm pretty sure you recently gave them a whirl.
Recent as in probably the last 10ish years, because they had what did they call it, the Blizzard Arcade Collection was released.
It's 21, I think,
Oh, okay, so
2021.
yeah, I guess a little more recent than 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Lost Vikings is like you're right. There's three of them, and like you sort of control them separately, and they all sort of got different abilities. Honestly, it sort of like low key reminds me of Triforce Heroes, Zelda Triforce Heroes, um, where it was like, oh, like this is cool, but like then you're sort of like got to control a bunch of different characters, and it came out on the Super Nintendo originally, and maybe I forget if it was for like the Genesis and stuff too. Maybe it was just
yeah,
Super Nintendo and then maybe ports. But yeah, I feel like it was one of those like, oh, this is like a cool idea, and I'm sure it was fun, more fun back then than maybe
yeah,
than it was more recently. But clever, sort of. I guess right with the dwarves and or the Vikings, they sort of look like dwarves. Would sort of be more their bread and butter, right? Eventually moving on to Warcraft and those kind of things. But yeah, and then I think right the two racing games. I think one was like sort of like I guess like quote unquote prototype for the next one. Like it was sort of like, oh okay, like this is sort of cool, and then like Rock and Roll Racing, right? I think that was the second one
yeah,
that was released. Um, that one was more fleshed out. I hadn't played again. Didn't play a ton of it, and definitely didn't play it back in the day when it came out. But very, very 90s of a game, right? Rock and roll racing, baby. But like visually, right? It's pretty cool, and to sort of pull that off, you know, back in again early 90s was pretty cool. That one I definitely know. Again, I know it was for Super Nintendo, but it might have been for the Genesis as well. Uh,
the
but
Rock and
yeah,
Roll Racing. Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
like I said, I didn't play a ton of it, but definitely makes sense, especially like seeing Blizzard flesh out, with other games that like they would totally make a game called Rock and Roll Racing.
yeah. It's funny, like when I think of Western devs, like a lot. Blizzard is, it could be like your prototypical examples. Like they have like that to me, they kind of epitome the Western development. Like when you look at how much different it looks towards like games that were made in Japan at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing around the name is hilarious to me because I guess so. Those games were it was started in nine. So the first one they released is the end of '91. So that was in November. So that was RPM Racing, and then the Lost Vikings was May of '92, and then Rock and Roll Racing was June of '93, and then it was in
Cranking them out.
'93. Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like they're, yeah, not exactly speedy, but later on they got a lot more. Like '94 was a very busy year, but um, in '93, one of the co-founders apparently didn't like the name Silicon Synapse because he believed that people were confusing the silicon of microchips with the silicon of breast implants.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. So I guess at the end of '93, they changed the name to Chaos Studio. which I
No
guess
bueno.
yeah, they reflect. I guess it was supposed to be based on like the chaos of development or whatever, but it was very quick when a Florida company called Chaos Technologies demanded 100 grand apparently to have the name, and yeah, they were like, no, we're good, so we'll just change the name. So they
We're not
changed it.
attached. Yeah.
Yeah, so they changed it to Ogre Studios in April of '94, and yeah, that did not work out because there was a they were forced to change it again, and I guess they were getting so frustrated with the whole naming process that they just opened the dictionary and started going through words, doing legal checks until they got to a word that passed it, that was good enough for them. So I guess they finally got to Blizzard in the dictionary, and checked it out, and like, thank God, this one's not going to give us any trouble. So they officially, on in May of 1994, went by Blizzard Entertainment. So it's kind of funny that Blizzard, at the end of the day, was the first word in the dictionary that didn't get them sued.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't have some sort of, special meaning to the people. Yeah, because I remember, yeah, Silicon and, Synapse, right? That was what it was
Yeah,
originally.
yeah, Silicon and Synapse.
Yeah, Synapse, yeah, and I remember them like, "Yeah, it's like the, connection between the brain and the computer brain," and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone just was thinking boobs, I guess, back,
Yeah.
which makes sense, right? Like, you sort of sound similar, and you're like, yeah, what a bunch of perverts. I don't wanna
Yeah.
play StarCraft." Um But yeah, it's funny because I mean, obviously now at 30, however many years later, it's like Blizzard. It's such an epic name, But yeah, the
Yeah.
origins were really pretty much anything but epic. Just
Yeah.
yeah, whatever works. Just please, we don't want to think about this anymore.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. And I mean, like, there would have been some work doing those legal checks too. Like, it's not like you just pop on the internet and see what web address is available. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're sending it to some pencil pusher to
yeah,
look it
the
up.
the lawyer fees to, can you check this out? Can you check
We
this
should
out?
have just paid them 100,000. Dang it!
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. So yeah, so when they officially became Blizzard Entertainment, the first game that they released was The Death and Return of Superman. So this was a 1994 Super Nintendo game. It was ported in the following year to the Sega Genesis. And actually, I played this one last night because I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give this one a go, because when I looked it up, it actually looked familiar to me. Like, I'm thinking there might have been something about this in Nintendo Power, because it looks incredibly familiar. Like, I remember seeing it because I never read comics, or like, I wasn't really into comics as a kid. But I remember in the '90s, like, the death of Superman being a big deal, and then the thing that kind of stands out to me was all like the Superman replacements. Like, I guess after he died, all these different Superman characters kind of showed
Tried
up,
to
I
take his
guess.
place.
Yeah, uh, and I still remember all these characters, but it had to have been from a Nintendo Power, because I never had the comic. So yeah, so I started playing it. It's I wouldn't say it's a great beat 'em up game. It's basically like, so the first couple levels, you're playing as like the Man of Steel, like Superman himself, and there's, I don't know, it's very simple. Like, there, you can jump and you can fly around a bit, and you can punch and you can use lasers. It's very funny that Superman is so weak and can die in this game, because you're it's kind of it's like, why is he taking damage? He shouldn't take damage.
He's Superman. Yeah, what are
Yeah.
these? Does everyone have a little kryptonite in their fists?
Yeah. So like, the first level is like, you're fighting these like alien looking things. So I'm like, maybe they went with aliens to like get over the kryptonite or whatever. So so yeah, so you're fighting through, but there's only like two different enemies throughout the whole level. And then when you get to the boss, never heard of Closter before, I have to say, but uh,
Gloucester.
yeah, uh, I the boss was a joke. Like, I basically like punched him a couple times and he fell down, and I just stood on top of him and spammed the punch button, I never took a hit, so that was pretty easy peasy. The second level, he was fighting humans. It was and base again, just there's only two different types of characters, and you just keep fighting them over and over. One is and it's the names are Chainsaw and Molotov, so it's pretty easy to know that one character attacks you with a chainsaw, and the other one throws Molotov
The
cocktails at you.
projectile man. Yep.
Yeah, and that's all you do is you just keep fighting these things till you get to the end, and then there was a boss at that one, and that was Doomsday actually. And so you beat Doomsday, and then he gets up and he kills Superman, and then uh, there's like this kind of like cutscene where the news is talking about like the death of Superman, and reports show that Superman may have returned because there's like these different types. So there's like the Cyborg and the Eradicator and Superboy, and there's a Full Metal Superman. I can't remember his name. He might just be called the Man of Steel. I can't remember, but there's like four different characters. So yeah, you end up playing as them throughout the game, and so like the next level you play a Cyborg, and there's kind of like a very basic shooter, like so like Cyborg is like flying in the sky, and then basically like there's just characters that come at you, so it's like a very like Darius, I guess, or like Gradius, like just shooting things as they fly on the screen or whatever, and then you do that for a bit, and then it switches back to the beat 'em up,
Hmm.
and yeah, so and then Cyborg, and then you still have it's pretty much the same, still like his punch, and Cyborg doesn't shoot lasers out of his eyes. He has like a gun on his arm or something like that he shoots at us.
He's a
So it's
Samus.
yeah, it's very very like so you still the same attacks, but just a little bit different for each character. So yeah, it was all right. Like it's I'm probably halfway through the game. I might finish it just for the retro achievements, but um,
You dog. Yeah.
yeah,
You need to get your percentages up.
need to boost that up. And that was published by Sunsoft, which is kind of funny because like I don't going through their games is I guess they did do Sunsoft did I guess there was a couple DC games that I guess Sunsoft must have had the DC license or something because and then just got Blizzard to develop the games.
Yeah, I guess so. It sounds sort of on par for a licensed early '90s release.
Yeah,
Like not terrible, but not great.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then then their second game up on the docket. Yeah, this is where they like really start getting games out the door because the Death and Return of Superman was originally released August '94. Their next game that was also for Super Nintendo and DOS. This was Blackthorn. So this was released in September of '94. And I guess if you're outside North America, you might know this game as Black Hawk. This for whatever reason it was published under a different name.
So someone had the Blackthorn IP and they weren't paying 100,000 for
Yeah, exactly.
it.
Yeah, this is the game that actually kind of inspired my Blizzard uh, look into because I just came across it. I was playing. I was on my Retroid, and I was just like, yeah, can't just. I'm looking for a new experience. So I'm just like going through the Super Nintendo games, and just like Blizzard, I started from the beginning of the alphabet, and I started working my way down, and I came across Blackthorn, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I had like no idea. I've never heard of it before. Clicked on it, and it was just this kind of weird game. Like I've never played something like it. It's called like a cinematic adventure, I guess, is the way they described it, where there's this very elaborate story for such a simple game.
I say I'm
Based,
watching a little video right now, and Stone Fist and the big demon sitting on the throne. I mean, it
yeah,
looks awesome.
yeah. Well, like the backstory to this game, and it's hilarious because I ended up reading the instruction manual later, and like 90% of the instruction manual is just the backstory. And so there's basically there's this world where I guess there's like two different originally everybody was the same, but then yeah, this one faction was north of the kingdom where things were plentiful, and they work together, whatever. And then in the south, or uh, you know, this is where the bad guys, they were struggling to survive, and it was like survival of the fittest, or whatever. And then the bad guys finally decide to, well, I guess the demon Sarlacc takes over, becomes leader of these guys down in the south, and basically convinces them that oh, the north has all the resources, so
Let's go
um,
get him.
let's go get them. So the monsters in the south invade the north, and at the last moment before they're taken over, they send this guy to the human world, or Earth, or whatever. And so this guy becomes like a war hero in in on Earth, and it's hilarious because there's a little cutscene where he's like, I guess he's just kind of sitting on the side of the road in like Nevada or something, trying to hitchhike somewhere, and he's just teleported back to the original world or whatever. And so he's he pops into the mines where the humans are being enslaved to dig for these resources or whatever. And for whatever reason, he's like decides that he's going to liberate everybody. That I must have missed the part of why he didn't freak out from being teleported, but um, yeah, it's kind of a weird setup. So I guess there's like 13 levels with four like themes. So there's like the first four levels you're in like a mine basically, and you're basically just walking through this mine shaft sort of area. It's almost kind of Metroidvania, like a Metroid-ish type game, because you're basically trying to find items that lets you progress through the mine. So like you'll get to a couple like forks of the road, and you have to go one way to get a key to or get something that'll unlock the path. And very simple controls. So he walks left and right, and you dodge enemy attacks by just kind of merging with the background. Like you hold up, and he kind of just like goes against the wall. So if an enemy shoots at you, it just flies by, and then you just kind of pop back out and shoot him. Your weapon is like a shotgun, and you could basically shoot left or right. And
Can never go wrong with a shotgun for a weapon.
yeah, and there's items that you'll pick up. So you can pick up bombs that you can throw at items or throw at enemies. You can't really use them too often on enemies though, because the bombs actually open doors. So you need to save them to progress. But yeah, you walk along, and there's like humans that are like tied to the wall, so you could talk to them and they'll give you stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. Like you're just kind of walking through, going up elevators, opening, turning off shields, and just shooting demons along the way. And yeah, so it's I guess to me it's like back in the day when playing on Super Nintendo, like most of the games I played were made by Nintendo or Square or whatever. Like I'm kind of used to the Japanese games, I guess. So it's funny to play a game like that's made by Blizzard, because like it does have like a very different feel than most of the games that you would play on it.
Yeah, I never really played this one. Watching some video though, I really like the animation of him like jumping up the cliff and like
Yeah,
climbing up, like pretty detailed, visuals and whatnot. But yeah, no, this one, because I think this is part of the Blizzard arcade too, but I don't think I actually
yep.
ever like played it when I was playing the arcade.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long it takes. I think it said it was like about an 8-hour game, and which probably checks out, because think I played about 2 to 3 hours, and I'm through the mining sections now, and I'm into like it's like a 4 section.
Yeah, how long to beat's got it at like 7
Yeah. Okay. So
for
that's about right.
a NES game. That's not too bad,
Yeah.
especially this style game, right? I guess Metroidvania style games usually fall in that period or that range, I suppose. But
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I guess it was inspired by Another World, which is a game I just put it on my wish list, because I hear about it all the time, but I've never actually played that one myself.
mm,
And it's kind of like I guess it was kind of similar to Prince of Persia, that kind of gameplay. But again, it's like kind of like you're playing kind of a story, work figuring out the puzzles to get through the world, and that one's about 2 to 3 hours, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is so that was September '94, and then November '94. I would argue, I guess, is when Blizzard kind of found its identity, because this is when it released Warcraft, Orcs and Humans,
Yep, yeah.
and
This would set
yeah,
them on what would be the the great make the greatest game of all time potentially, or at least MMO.
yeah. And this is where they flipped over to PC, because
Like
this one,
screw Nintendo.
yeah, they're like we're slowing down on the consoles here. They switched over to this one only came out on DOS in '94.
They had what David would have many years later, his shift off of Nintendo to
Yeah,
PC.
yeah, yeah. It set me up. It's funny. I went with the Command and Conquer myself in the mid '90s when the shift happened, but. Having now, I've never played Warcraft myself, or these ones anyway. But it was funny looking at it, because I'm like, man, this looks exactly like Command and Conquer. RTS's heyday was definitely mid '90s.
Yeah, let's see. When did Command and Conquer come out? I'm curious. The first Command and Conquer. If I should have probably looked this up a minute ago, but huh. Oh, of course. Now they're gonna give me every every release date except for the first one. Um,
I could look it up. You could tell us. I know you've '95.
okay, so so Command and Conquer copied Blizzard, those dirty dogs. No, yeah. So I've definitely played a little bit of the first Warcraft. I think more so on a revisit than it was original. Um, my intro to Blizzard was Diablo, and then I think we became so enthralled with that we were like, wow, like Blizzard's amazing. I would say, right, I think everyone, or at least most people, are, oh, it's like Nintendo's sort of your first or early ones, I guess, depending on how old you are. For me, it was always Nintendo, and then it was like, oh man, I love Nintendo and Blizzard. Like Blizzard was my second video game company I found, like, knew about and loved. And like I said, started with Diablo, and then it was Warcraft and StarCraft were sort of that next games we were playing, at least growing up around me, and like really the intro to the RTS genre. And I've always been more of like a magic swords and axes kind of guy, more than space shooters. So I played plenty of StarCraft, but I definitely leaned more towards the Warcraft aesthetic and feel. So I played a bunch of the second one, but it's funny, you go back to the first one, and like you said, yeah, I think it feels like it looks more like Command and Conquer. I mean, the second one does too, but I don't know, the more simplistic visuals and whatnot of the first one. And I forget exactly, but I like. I think it's got like a smaller, army size. So like things were sort of like, just more like condensed in a sense. And then, I feel like as they got, further down the line, you can get more units and different types of units and stuff. But yeah, it definitely set the groundwork for, I mean, obviously, like I mentioned before, eventually go on to World of Warcraft, right? One of the biggest games. But even like the from 1 to 2 to 3 of Warcraft, it's funny to see the evolution, of like, all right, their first attempt at it with 1, then they sort of perfected it. I almost feel like with Warcraft 2, and then Warcraft 3, right, like was like the introduction of the hero classes, and like, hey, I'm playing an RTS, but I do have these special units that get abilities. Like, have you ever played Warcraft 3?
No, no, it's I need to go back to those, because I do like the RTS.
Dude, Warcraft 3 is amazing. First off, it's got like such a good story with Arthas and like his fall and rise as a fall of a good guy turned into bad guy. Is like really interesting. I think it's great. I think that's also like, the hype was like Warcraft 3 was so good back in the day, and then like they continued the story, and WoW. So it was like, that's that just that time period for Warcraft was like insane. But the gameplay is really cool because, like I said, you get to control these hero classes that level up, and you unlock new abilities. So you are still playing an RTS, right? You're still building your bases, you're getting your resources and building your armies, but like you've also got these heroes that you could level up and really sort of change the tide of battle. But that's 3. Getting a little ahead of ourselves. With 2, like I said, it feels more like it was just like the realization of what they were trying to do. Because it's funny. I'm pretty sure it only came out like a year later. Warcraft 2 release date, I think, was 95. Yeah, so Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness came out December 9th, 1995. And the
Yeah.
first one came out in 94.
Yeah, it
So
was
it's
only a year apart.
yeah, so they were cranking it out. So it almost feels like, yeah, like again, like even when you go back to like RC racing and then rock and roll racing, it's like they like put out like a pretty good product and then they got to refining it really quick.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, that was sort of like Blizzard's bread and butter back in the day. Was like, hey, we're gonna sort of enter into these arena or this genre, and we're just gonna perfect it, like and make it better than anyone else. They were really good at just making really great like quality like games in the genre, and then sort of evolution or evolving it as it goes on there. But yeah, I don't remember too much like of like the story. Like I know obviously it lays the groundwork and all that, but I do remember playing a whole bunch of it back in the day and just yeah, work. All the
Yeah.
little peons, yeah, they had one or
Yes,
two
my lord.
sayings.
Yes,
Yeah.
my lord. Yes, my lord.
Yep, yeah, it reminds you of Xenoblade, yeah. It's Roaring time, I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll hear the few catchphrases over and over again. But yeah, I think I haven't tried to go back and play it too recently. It's funny, I know we were talking on the Discord a couple months ago about wanting to play an RTS, and I think we were all maybe deciding to play Command and Conquer Red Alert sometime this year for the campaign.
Yeah.
But honestly, even going back and playing Warcraft 2 campaign would probably be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Blizzard's website. Like, well, the first Warcraft, they have it remastered, and yeah, it's $13 Canadian for the remastered. I guess it's also on Game Pass. But
Yeah, I think
boo.
that was yeah, like because like you said, it was what did it release? I think it was like a pain in the butt to try and play it right with like MS dot like old files. So I don't know
Yeah.
how much of a like, and I'm sure they probably made it like more clear resolution or something. But um,
Oh, here we go. They got one called the Warcraft Remastered Battle Chest. They got it
probably one,
listed at
two, just had 3 also.
yeah. So it's yeah. So Warcraft 2, and 3. So the first 2, it said they're called Warcraft Remastered and Warcraft 2 Remastered, and then Warcraft 3 Reforged is what they called it. But it's
Oh well, Reforged was I don't know if you know that whole spiel. Um, they were like, "Hey, Warcraft 3 Reforged," and 3, like I said, is definitely the one people love the most out of the classic 3 there. And it was like, yeah, we're going to have new cutscenes with higher resolution and this, that, and the other thing. It's going to be amazing. And then they like, I guess internally was like, well, this isn't a $1 billion game. Like, let's just poop this thing out. And then it was like they took all like they took the pre-orders, and then I think it was like, man, we need to delay this thing. But if we do delay it, we got to reissue the pre-order money back. So they just pooped it out, and it was terrible, like really, really bad.
oh, it
And it
makes sense because there's a little message here. So you can buy them individually as well. But on the Warcraft 3 Reforged, it specifically says a major new update is live with graphical improvements, improved functionality, UI features, and more.
yeah, well, after they came out, they were having tournaments, and like you can't do like a LAN, like you can't play LAN. It has to be online. So like they were having this official tournament, and the game like crashed or disconnected like 3 times on this like, and like the one guy was about to win, or like not like literally about to win, but it's like, oh, he has this in the bag, and then it like disconnected. They restarted. He was going to win again. It disconnected, and then like the third time, the other guy won. And it's like, oh, dude, and like, and I'm pretty sure it replaced. Like you can't get the well, I'm sure you can find the OG release somewhere. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like this replaced it. So it's like, oh, like they got rid of the original version that was still really good and like replaced it with this turd. And like, yeah, people were really pissed off
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
weird because they sell the classic 1 and 2 for a little bit cheaper, not like a ton cheaper, but not
Yeah,
three. Like three, like Reforged is the only version.
that's why, because I think like I'm pretty sure 1 and 2 like remasters are like, hey, it's just easy to download now. You know what I mean? And like play on modern computers. Um, and then 3 was like a full on like, hey, we're charging, I forget it, 40, $50, whatever it might have been, like buy it. And then, yeah, it was like a disaster. I bought it, but I won't lie. I definitely bought it because they gave you a cool mount in
In
World of
WoW.
Warcraft. Yeah. And it was like, oh, I want to play this. And I was like, I remember people saying like, yeah, like the cutscenes and this and that sort of stink in comparison. But I was like, whatever, like whatever, Um, but it is a really great game, like inherently. That's super fun. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Is
that's
it?
a 2000 release. So
Yeah. Is it all? Is the story continued through the all three, or are they separate stories?
so honestly, like I can't remember too much on the early or the 1 and 2 stories. I'm sure they're all somewhat canon. Maybe with World of Warcraft, maybe they've rewritten some of the history to work with what they're working in that sense. Um, but I know like 3 and then the expansion for 3, I think it's called Frozen Throne. Uh, yeah, Frozen Throne. Yep. That like continues into World of Warcraft. Like Wrath of the Lich King is essentially like what the story of Warcraft 4 would be if it happened.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so like I said, that's why I feel like if you look at WoW's history, like the first 3 or the base game and the first 2 expansions are really when it was popping and it's the best. And like part of it was like, yo, finally Arthas, like we're gonna fight Arthas in Wrath of the Lich King, like let's effing go, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, uh, I I'm sure like they maybe have some connective tissue, but I don't think it's like literally like to know what's going on in 3, you need to play 2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's Blizzard's. It's funny. Like, I think one of the things that have kept me away from Blizzard is the fact that the everything has to go through like their BattleNet. Like, you
Mm.
can't just hop on Steam and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go play Warcraft." Like, it all goes through their BattleNet thing, or I guess now at this point, if you have
I think
a Game
Diablo's on.
Pass,
I think Diablo's on Steam now. Yeah, you could get D4 on Steam, but
yeah,
yeah, no, they've they've historically been like, yep, you got to get BattleNet. Honestly though, like, I mean, I don't know. On PC, it's just, I guess I've always had BattleNet more or less, so
yeah,
I'm just used to it. But like, yeah, it's like, oh, when you play Diablo games, you got to open up your BattleNet. But yeah, I think you would like 3. Especially RTSs are fun.
yeah. I was thinking like I love Command and Conquer and the RTS genre. That was my heyday back in the '90s. But it'd be neat to play Warcraft just because it would give me that nostalgia feeling of the RTS, but in a new
Yeah,
experience. Like because
flavor.
I never played them back in the day.
Yeah, no, like 3, like again, Reforged. I think if you played Reforged now, especially not playing the early, playing the original one, like I don't think you would be like, "Yo, this game stinks" or anything, or like, "What the heck's
Yeah,
going on here?" I think it's more the Puritans, where it's like, "Hey, like this isn't what I originally had," and then you also promised more.
yeah,
But I think if you played it now, like you'd enjoy it. But yeah, 3 is really fun, and like I said, the hero classes, and then right, that would ultimately lead to like League of Legends started out as like a Warcraft 3 custom game, and now look
yeah,
at that, it's like one of the biggest uh, IPs or video games like ever, especially competitive play, right?
yeah.
So Yeah, no, I would be interested. Like, if you ever picked up three, I would like if you're gonna play it, you should definitely get three. But yeah, especially for the story because like the story's bad. Well, not bad. I was going to say bad A, but I didn't want to make you make you edit that out. It's pretty awesome, I should say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I guess pretty neat history. It's funny to go back and play these 90 games and kind of see. It's because now when you hear about like Blizzard and Activision, it's I don't know. I only really think of like them recently. Like they feel like more like of a 2000s and beyond. Company or whatever. Like obviously, WoW always comes to mind for me. Diablo, like that. Those are the ones that Blizzard basically pushes right there. It's Diablo, Warcraft, and Overwatch. I guess is like
Yeah,
the big
yeah. I
three.
guess they've. Yeah, I feel like Overwatch sort of with the whole Overwatch 2. Like, I'm sure there's still people that play it a lot, but I feel like it lost its cachet of being like a top tier game.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, so it's like Blizzard. I mean, Diablo 4. They're working on and pushing. The new expansion comes out this year. Yeah, Warcraft's always going to be churning out new games. And now they've split where they still have the classic realms, so it's like you'd still get that OG flavor. Uh, Hearthstone is still kicking. I don't think it's as popular it was, but I know they're always releasing new expansions there.
so
Uh,
many strategy card games now. It's
yeah,
just like a
yeah.
million of
Well,
them.
they were. I guess. I mean, Hearthstone was big for a little while.
Yeah,
Like real big for a little while. But yeah, I guess I heard they're working on a new StarCraft game, or rumor that they're working on a new StarCraft game, but that it's not going to be an RTS, but it's going to be more like I don't know if it's a first person shooter or something. But they've always sort of like I don't know if you. I guess maybe not being a huge Blizzard fan, but like StarCraft Ghost back in the day was like this, it's going to be I think first person shooter, but essentially like, hey, taking the StarCraft like world and like putting it into some sort of shooter. It might have been a third person shooter, but that ultimately got canceled. So I guess I don't know if the new game is sort of like picking up where that left off. Like, hey, let's try this again. You know, a decade or 2 decades later, whatever it is, and see what we can do. But yeah, StarCraft was a big one also for me back in the day. Again, another RTS, but space RTS, and I really like this game a lot too. It's funny, like I guess in the RTS world, I played a lot more StarCraft than I did like Warcraft 2, and then I think I played. Then I ultimately played 3 a lot for Warcraft, but yeah, and StarCraft One's got a cool story with the 3 different factions, and then you could like play your campaign like follows each like you play as each faction in 3 different campaigns, and then ultimately right they would release StarCraft 2 and um, StarCraft 1 was such a big game, especially in like Korea, like back in the day. And I think to some extent the second one is still pretty big, but like this was, I'm pretty sure it was like the national sport at one point. Um, like,
it's funny.
like, like it was huge. Um, let's see. Yeah. StarCraft is widely considered South Korea's unofficial national sport. Which is pretty cool. But yeah, and then they had the expansion Brood War, that added more story stuff. Yeah. Have you ever really played StarCraft?
No, that's it's funny. I must have just been narrowly focused on Command and Conquer
Yeah.
because it's funny because when you describe them, they all sounded similar to me. Like when you like with StarCraft, where you'll play like as the 3 different factions. It's like, oh yeah, that's like GDI and Nod and Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's sort of, yeah,
yeah,
you have the Protoss, the human, and the Zerg.
yeah,
Uh, Zerg are like an alien race where like your little peons that like gather materials, they'll morph into the buildings. So like when you build a building, you like sacrifice one of your little helpers and then they just like morph into something else. Um, and it's cool because like the buildings, I think it's called creep, like essentially like change the ground like around your buildings to, be like sort of like this gross alieny like substance, but that's what you could build on, and then like it expands out, and they got some cool things where you can like burrow into the ground and move around that way. Then you got the humans. Obviously, they're humans, or Terran. They're called. They're humans. Um, at what you would expect, I guess, of like a space capable set of humans building stuff in space. And then the Protoss are like the super advanced alien. Like the buildings look sort of like pyramids, like some pyramid buildings, and like like they're using crazy energy and super advanced tech. But it's cool how they all sort of interact with one another. But yeah, I again like StarCraft, and you could probably, I know they've re-released like a StarCraft with like better visuals of the original one, and then yeah, they've got StarCraft 2 and all that. But man, I would recommend either like jumping into StarCraft 1 would probably be pretty easy to do and pretty fun to check out. But yeah, I would definitely suggest checking out, even if it was for like an hour, StarCraft or Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that
I'll
was like
definitely.
definitely one me and my
Yeah.
neighbors played a ton of, because like I said, whether it was like I forgot if we were sharing the CD or downloading key codes. I remember having like a burnt copy of Brood War that worked uh,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But yeah, that was definitely like for me. My intro to Blizzard was Diablo 1, because my neighbor had it on PS1, and um, essentially at my neighbor, like they had two boys. One was like more or less my age, and one was more or less my brother's age, and who's a little older than I am. And he would never let me play Diablo. Like
Yeah.
he had it on PS1, and I was like enamored. I was like, this game looks so freaking cool, and he never let me play it. And I'm like, you Kenny, I hate you, Kenny. Um, and then eventually, like, yeah, at EB Games, I saw it was on the PC, and I was like, oh my God, mom, please. And then she ended up getting it for me. Funny enough, that's where I saw Final Fantasy VII was also my neighbor Kenny, who wouldn't let me play it. It's like my two of my favorite games were because Kenny wouldn't let me play them back in the day. And like the
It's funny.
anticipation of finally getting to play them.
Yeah. It's funny that Kenny had such a huge impact on your video gaming
Yeah, by
taste.
neglecting me. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you won't play these, but when you do, you're gonna really like them.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm pretty sure you can actually play Diablo 1 in like a browser. Like if
Yeah,
you
yeah, I think I saw that too. Yeah.
so
No,
anyone
I
can
yeah,
check that game out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've been. I'll probably end up checking some of these out soon because I've been on a bit of a '90s DOS kick. I've been looking around for those games, so
Yeah,
seems like the perfect one to play.
D1's a little slow. Um like especially compared to other Diablo games.
Yeah,
Mainly like yeah, it's way more like
it was more like a
strategic.
CRPG back then, wasn't it?
And it's more scary. Like it's nerve wracking because like there you can get stun locked by enemies and just like absolutely get owned. So like you learn to play like, oh, I can sort of use doorways to my advantage because like they don't, like enemies don't overlap, right? So it's like you can like log jam them or bottleneck them into a door, and like, oh, I could take out enemies more one at a time instead of like going into an open room and getting like a bunch of enemies around you. Um, yeah, definitely a little bit slower paced, but definitely more like almost more like a survival horror game to some extent, like because you really do feel vulnerable down there. And it's like you go into a chapel and you're just like going down the floors of this, where like Diablo 2 would be more like you're going all over the place and whatnot. But yeah, no, some of their original games are just like really incredible. And I mean, they earned their reputation back in the day, right? And then WoW comes out, and then that's a banger, and it's like, wow, these guys are like, if it was a Blizzard game back in the day, you didn't have to worry about its quality. You knew it was going to be good, and like gonna be a game you probably sink a lot of hours into. Um, and then Activision took over, and things started to change up a little bit.
Yeah, cool. I guess to just kind of wrap up our talk, I have this funny story of, or not a story, but just like, to me, the kind of way we all look at Blizzard now is kind of exemplified by the change of leadership back in 2018. And I'm just reading about how it went down. So basically, like, Bobby was Activision CEO when they merged or whatever. So, that it was like with him and the Blizzard guys that set it up or whatever. I guess the guy who remained, of the three original guys, I guess they're Michael Morhaime, Alan Adlam, and Frank Pierce. So Michael Morhaime was
He was there for
still,
a while, I think. Yeah, the
yeah,
most.
like, yeah. So he was still there up until, I guess, officially 2019. So I'm just reading about the story. So, in 2018, so a rift had developed between Kotick and Morhaime on how Blizzard should continue developing its games. Morhaime wanted to allow the developers the freedom to experiment, while Kotick was focused on generating profit.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Sounds about right, yeah. And then, so Morhaime announces plans to step down as company president in October of 2018. He stated publicly that he just felt it was time for someone else to lead Blizzard. However, those close to him said he had become tired of the conflicts with Kotick.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
because I remember I was knee deep in WoW when Activision took over.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember it was like people were like, "Oh, doom and gloom," and I'm like, everyone's, no, whatever. Like Blizzard's still gonna make great games. And then they introduced the Celestial Steed in World of Warcraft, which was the first purchase mount, and that should have been signs of things to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, then because I remember seeing a thing too. It was like actually, like they make more money now with far less subs than they did back in the day with all the microtransactions. You know what I mean? Like, and especially some of these mounts are like $15 or something stupid, and people buy them. I mean, I remember I bought the Steed back in the day. I did. It's actually funny when they first released. There was like a on the website. There was like a stock. It was like, oh, there's only 40% left, and it was like people were like, oh my god, it's limited. And I think that's actually what got me, dude. I was like, I need to get it before it goes away. And then they were
Yeah.
like, no, that was a mistake, actually. Which, in hindsight,
Yeah.
I wonder if it was
Maybe not a mistake, but
a tactical mistake,
yeah.
quote unquote. But yeah. Now it's about engagement and keeping players on, and I think recently, at least in the World of Warcraft world or realm of things, they've been better as devs. But like there was a little while where they were definitely like the players would be like, "Hey, we don't know about this thing. Like this is our concern." Like a question mark, and then the Blizzard
Yeah.
devs being like, "No, no, no, you dumb idiots! Like we know what we're doing." Like,
Yeah.
don't even worry about it. And then it would come out, and then it'd be like, see, the exact issue we told you was going to happen happened. And then they spend like a year fixing it. And then it's finally fixed and like in a good playable state. And then the new expansion comes out like a half a year later. You know what I mean? And it was like rinse and repeat, where
Yeah.
like, just listen to the people who are playing your games. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like very adversation. How do you, I can't even say that word right now.
Adversarial.
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like the devs were like purposely like, no, 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 you idiots! Like we know what we're doing, and it's like any
Do
good game,
you?
especially like a game like this, right? Like that's like everlasting and always evolving. Like give the players what they want to some extent, Even like the classic, at one point, at BlizzCon, someone asked like, "Hey, like, would you ever do like classic servers?" Essentially, what they do now, but like the guy was like, "You think you do, but you don't. Like you think you want that, but you don't because things are way easier and better now." And like that became like a rally cry for fans. And eventually, they released Classic WoW, and it's only the biggest thing that's happened to Blizzard in the last like decade. So it's like
Yeah.
just funny how I don't know if it's hubris or what from the dev side, but yeah, it does seem like they're getting better where they are listening to their players a bit more now. But it took them right like it took like half the people saying "screw you guys, we're going to Final Fantasy 14" to be like, "Oh, maybe we should listen to people who pay us."
Yeah. Well, it'll
Ugh.
be interesting to see where things go because, like, it seems like most of the old guard is gone now. Like, I was just seeing, obviously Bobby's gone now that it's been sold to Microsoft. Um, but I guess like the lead writer for like Diablo and Warcraft left a few years ago, Michael Chu.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
mm.
They
And
they did
then
bring back actually Chris Metzen. He's a big Warcraft guy. I think he's worked I think with main like all of their main IPs, but he's like a like good for the stories and stuff. So for a while, right, like uh again, Warcraft is sort of like the story got sort of off the rails and some crazy like I forgot the one guy that was leading it, but like one of the characters was like clearly a self insert. You know what I mean? Like oh, this is me, and I'm
yeah.
this big piece, and so it's like he's out and then now they've brought Metzen back, who, like I said, he was with from '93 to 2016. He was with the company. He left and he just came back in. It says 2022. I guess it could be that long. Time
Oh,
flies.
yeah,
But yeah, like that was like a big moment because it was like, oh, like this guy knows how to write stories. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
characters. So that I know was a big like point of people being pretty happy.
yeah. So that first person shooter for StarCraft that you were talking about, it was canceled actually.
Yeah, Ghost. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the one. Like it was like people were so stoked. I remember I had one friend who was like could not wait for StarCraft Ghost, and yeah,
yeah.
and it was always one of those like no, like yeah, we're working on it, no, and then eventually, yeah, like the
I guess
quiet press release that it was canceled, like on a
yeah.
Friday at 4.
That and Hearthstone, another Hearthstone game. I guess they canceled both in 2018. So
Yeah, Hearthstone. I played some of like here and there, but it's one of those games where like I don't know. I don't know if I'm just a big dumb idiot or I just don't put enough time to like really get like the meta down on these card games. But I
yeah,
feel like I could play some against the computer and have fun. But like the second I try and play someone, they just wax me.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens. I guess going forward now that Activision Blizzard is owned by Microsoft. Could be good or bad. I guess I don't know. Who
Well,
knows?
I'm just like
You know.
yeah, I know I was happy at the time because I was like, well, at least it's not Activision anymore. Like it
Yeah.
can't get worse, right?
Yeah.
Says
Except.
the says the Jets fan, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that Microsoft laid off like 10% of their workforce, that's never a good sign. But
No, and
uh,
then Xbox is probably a thing of the past.
oh man, yeah. Like just Microsoft is just like digging its own grave. It's just insane. I mean, I guess the one thing is like there's such a customer base or fan base for these Blizzard games that hopefully, like, whatever happens, like obviously Microsoft's not going anywhere as a company, but if Xbox, I could see Xbox turning into like a third party developer like Sega, where
Yeah,
it's like, you know what, we're not going to make the hardware anymore, but we'll just throw it on like PC and
yeah. We still
um
have the IPs that are really people love, right? Like even though
yeah,
Halo, I guess, really hasn't had like epic game come out recently. At least not like they used to be. But yeah, I think with like at least with Blizzard, it's like they'll always have Warcraft, right? Like that literally will go on forever, I think. And even if all for some reason it didn't, they would just keep releasing the original. Like there's such a fan base that would just keep paying $15 a month to play the first three iterations of WoW over and over again on like a
yeah.
2 year loop or 3 year loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm hopeful. I mean, I think Blizzard will keep on kicking on, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Microsoft appreciates and nurtures it because
Yeah.
like even for me, right? Like I love Diablo 2 is like one of my favorite games ever. Diablo 3 and 4 are definitely fun games, but like to me definitely didn't hit that point of 2. But yeah, I think, to me, it's the IP because like there are plenty of games like Diablo, like Path of Exile. Have you ever played or heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I
It's
think
like
I've briefly played it.
yeah, it's like the like I would say like Diablo is like the action RPG for the everyday man, and then like Path of Exile is like, oh, you want to get real nerdy with this, and like you could do insane builds. Like if you look up like Path of Exile skill tree,
Oh, yeah,
like if you do a quick Google search, you'll understand what I mean. It's like there's a bajillion different combinations you could do. Uh, so it's like Path of Exile is like the hardcore version of Diablo. And
yeah.
I played some of it, but like to me,
Oh, it's
like
free now too.
well, I think the first one's always been free. I think
Yeah,
it's one of those like it's free to play, and then like you could spend a couple bucks to get like extra storage in the game, which like if you play the game, it's like oh okay, like this is my way of giving the devs some money, and it benefits us both, you know.
yeah,
But they released two. I don't know if it's still in early access or if it's actually a full release, but either way, it's like there's other games in the genre, but I know for me, it's like it's the IP. I love Diablo, you know, like the like that flavor of game. Even though like I feel like Path of Exile is sort of in the same vein, like to me, it's like I'll always connect to Diablo more. So I think there's probably a huge section of the fan base that is similar to that. So
yeah,
it's like as long as they put out solid games, like people are going to keep playing them, you know?
yeah. Path of Exile 2 is still early access.
Yeah. So no, I know people are like PoE is huge. And like, I feel like that was like people who like played Diablo and was like, this is great, but like, we want to go like give you even more customability, if you will. Cause yeah, like with like Diablo, there's only so many like builds you can do, you know,
Yeah,
where Path of Exile is more like go go experiment and have fun and find those game breaking builds that like aren't what we necessarily intended for you to do.
yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's probably where we'll wrap up our episode for this week. Yeah, I guess time will tell what happens with Blizzard. According to Bobby, it's all downhill from here. Now, obviously, because he's left, I'm sure that's his
Yeah,
half
he's
of
like
his problem.
my golden touch. Yeah, he's like they're not going to make nearly as much money now,
Yes,
idiots.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I imagine without him, they're probably not as money grubbing as they were when he was there. But that's not a bad thing necessarily. So, well, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I definitely, I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about Blizzard because yeah, I'll be checking out some of those DOS games from the '90s. Definitely want to give those a go. And yeah, and Casey's always playing WoW, so there's always that connection.
Yeah, yeah. They always find a way to bring me back in one way or another. I've been out
Yeah,
for a minute, but the new expansion comes out in a couple months, and we'll see how it goes.
yeah,
They added player housing after many years of people clamoring for it. So we'll see if
yeah,
it's enough to pull me in when it drops.
yeah. Just don't subscribe for a month. Get someone to buy you a house and then never go back.
Yeah, that woman probably wakes up at night and thinks about that time Jericho stole 80K from her, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a good sum of money. Oh man, I feel bad, but that's okay.
Too funny.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. And like I said, if you head on over to Discord, if you want to have some more chats or if you want to reminisce about past WoW, you can hop into the Discord. And we got a whole lot of people that I'm sure grew up on these games that would love to chat about it. But I guess until then, I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye for now.
Adios.